that's going to be where max pain is probably initiated for most crypto investors. So we know psychologically, investors probably will put stops at 10,000. We know that psychologically that's going to be like, oh my goodness, if Bitcoin ever breaks 10,000, it's going to be a fiasco. Everyone's going to freak out about it, which oftentimes can be the
The most prominent fear investors in crypto have is to wake up one day and all their accounts empty. All their money is gone. But that doesn't happen only when exchanges like FTX fall apart. That may happen if you don't place your trades right or invest when you shouldn't. Gareth Soloway, who you probably already know, from VerifiedInvestingEducation.com or VerifiedInvestingCrypto.com, will explain how much pain is coming to the markets and how this will likely wipe out many people in Bitcoin. This bold claim is not just another Gareth Soloway Bitcoin price prediction, but also some valuable advice that can save your wealth. So, pay close attention until the end, as this is probably one of the most important videos we ever had in the channel if you're investing in Bitcoin and crypto. First, should you chase the shorts expecting to find the bottom soon?
So let's say Bitcoin goes to $9,000. You're basically, your reward here is about 8,000 bucks. Versus if it starts squeezing up, you could lose 10, 20, 30, 40, 50,000. So I think that, again, this is a great example where people are trying to chase, and chasing in trading, chasing is the worst thing you can do. And I always like to use the analogy of, like, for some reason, investors, they're willing to like pay higher prices, or in the case of shorting, pay lower prices. But like when we go to the mall to buy some jeans or a pair of shoes, we don't go to the mall and, you know, we see it on sale at $100 one week, and then the next week it's $500 for that same pair of jeans. We don't go, oh my God, I got to buy 10 pair of jeans. Like you say, no, like, let me wait for this thing, you know? So that's the same thought process. You have to translate what we do at the shopping centers and the stores into your trading. It should be the same mindset. You're looking for deals. You're looking for sales. One of the keys to withstanding the emotional pressure of like a bear market is make sure not to over allocate funds, right? So the biggest thing is when you put a small amount of money into an asset, you know, and let's say you start buying a little Bitcoin, you dangle into it a little bit. You have to remember that if you put too much money in, when that asset goes against you, you're going to react emotionally because you're uncomfortable having invested so much. So it's very important to kind of decide ahead of time for each trade, what's your comfort level? If you have a full position of Bitcoin, are you going to be comfortable if it goes to 9,000? Because again, the market will figure out, and just some amazing way it does this, it knows how to attack you if you over allocate funds, and it will make you do the wrong thing at the wrong time.
This is some precious advice. If you're thinking about chasing the shorts, you may want to rethink that strategy as per Gareth's recommendation. You may be unable to withstand the pain. Not only that, but markets will do this too.
Well, and the toughest thing is to not flip, right? I mean, you've watched it go up X amount, and then to not, you're going to get, the markets tend to they're going to push everyone to their limits, right? Even myself, you know, when Bitcoin last year was hitting that 69,000, it was just above that April high. I mean, I couldn't help but say, whoa, could I, you know, is this one of those times where I'm going to be wrong? And again, it's just saying, I guess part of it too is that always remember that there's always another trade, right? So you may miss Bitcoin, you may miss this crypto going higher, 10xing, but the discipline is what's going to ground you to not get caught off guard. And if you miss one, it's okay, because there's another one coming around the turn, right? So you have to always remind yourself of that. And you will be wrong sometimes. Sometimes things will go up and you're not on board. But just remember that it's that discipline that is going to hold you safe. And being safe as a trader, and being kind of that, and put it to you this way, is every time I go in a trade now, I go in thinking I might be wrong, versus a lot of retail, when they go into a trade, they're already calculating how they're going to spend all the money that they're going to make, right? And it's going in thinking you could be wrong, that mentality that keeps you from putting your whole account in one trade, which obviously is not a good idea. And also preparing, how are you going to trade around that position if you need to? Where are you going to stop out? What are you going to do to kind of limit the damage that gets done? Anytime you go into a trade, and this is the same with Bitcoin, is that even when we were at 69,000, I kept on asking myself, has my thesis changed? And remember, thesis isn't, oh, I feel it or my gut is telling me or anything like that. It's like, it's got to be, you got to think about standing in front of like Sheldon and defending your thesis in front of him. And if it doesn't hold up to him, then it's not a good thesis, right? It has to be technically based and everything like that. So yeah, I mean, it's an amazing stuff. And I think trading is just, it's one of those things that you can do. And I always say this too, and I'll say this, I know you have a lot of the people that you educated here, is that the best thing about trading, and I always say this, is that you could be 95 years old in a bed, and as long as you can click your finger on a mouse, you can make money trading, right? And so all of a sudden it's very liberating in terms of financial freedom, where, you know, obviously we want to save for retirement, but again, being able to make money almost at any point in your life by going into the trading markets is just an amazing freedom thing to have.
But let's look at Gareth's analysis and Bitcoin price prediction on the charts. What's his thesis and what can we expect next?
So one of the things I'm keeping an eye on is that you can clearly see that the current price of Bitcoin is still below that June low right there of support, right? So we know that this is a drop. So this is technically a bearish inside bar pattern, bearish flaggish in spirit of bear flag. And it hasn't even been able to regain the price point from June. So for me, that's a major issue short term for Bitcoin. I still think we could go up and touch that line. This area down here, which I think is right around your 14,000, you know, 13, 14 area here, 14, this is going to be a big level as well. And I do think eventually we retest that level on the downside. Now, for me, I kind of took it a step further when I was analyzing like where Bitcoin could bottom. I've been doing a lot of research because everyone wants to know where could Bitcoin bottom. And obviously, please keep in mind that this is just an opinion based on charting and history. But for me, I basically took FTX's fiasco and I likened it to the Lehman Brothers collapse in the stock market. And this is where my stock education kind of comes in, where I can bring these things out that I went through as a trader and kind of use them. And so when Lehman Brothers collapsed, it was a bank. They took on too much leverage. They did some stuff they shouldn't have, and eventually they failed. From that point, the stock market dropped 45% more till the March low of 2009, and it took about 5 to 6 months. So if FTX is kind of that scenario for the crypto markets, it puts the bottom on Bitcoin somewhere in the, I would say, the May to June period, right? That 5-6 months out from now period. And it probably puts us right around the $10,000 to $9,000 range. The reason I like 10,000 in terms of a break point and thinking that we could break that on Bitcoin is simply that that's going to be where max pain is probably initiated for most crypto investors. So we know psychologically, investors probably will put stops at 10,000. We know that psychologically that's going to be like, oh my goodness, if Bitcoin ever breaks 10,000, it's going to be a fiasco. Everyone's going to freak out about it, which oftentimes can be the marker of a low in a chart or in an asset.
According to Gareth, there's still more pain to come. So how close are we to reaching the bottom? How do you even know if you've reached the bottom of any asset?
There's no doubt that you haven't reached that, and the reason you can tell that is because you still see people posting on Twitter and stuff like that. Oh, the low is in. I mean, here we go. And, you know, every $100 uptick in Bitcoin, it seems like that's kind of the thing that people are saying. And the key to bottoms is when people are just like, it's like crickets, right? Everyone's just depressed. No one's saying anything positive. You even get people saying that Bitcoin will not be here in a year or two. I mean, that's really the marker. And by the way, that's again the psychological side that all of us that are education fiends for crypto or anything, you have to be ready to withstand. You go back to your thesis and you say, is my thesis still valid even when I'm saying this? Because it's going to make people, even like myself, question myself. And you have to be strong enough to just say, no, this is the thesis. This is what happens in bear markets. Let's withstand it and let's look for that reversal.
And finally, according to Gareth, when is the best time to profit from these markets?
Yeah, I was going to say bear markets are the place where people make their money, right? I mean, this is where it's not when you're buying at 65 or 69,000 on Bitcoin where your risk reward is horrendous. It's when the market is decimated and you're getting an asset that has major future value at such discounted levels. So, I mean, always remember that bear markets, if you know how to trade them, it's better than anything in the world in terms of generating money.
Did you enjoy this video? Want to see more daily crypto news and price predictions? Please leave a like and subscribe. That helps us out, and we will do our best to bring you valuable and educational content daily. Thank you so much for watching. See you tomorrow.